All right, so I have been wanting to make this video for a while, and I'm gonna try hard to speak quickly for people who have commented about my slower voice. It's seriously how I've talked like my entire life. And I think as I continue making these videos, I'm going to definitely become more sure of myself with it. Um, but yeah, I'm sometimes I just like to be quirky. I think that's why like my I talk slowly or something. For people who don't like how slow I talk, you can seriously like I wouldn't mind if you sped it up. There's like a settings I think down below that will let you speed it up. But yeah, like my dad actually talks even slower than me. So it's very much something that I've always done, but no, I appreciate the challenge to speak more quickly because that's also a reflection of how confident I am. So, yeah, I'm going to talk quicker. This is going to be all about how to heal or lessen anxiety through diet. So, I just wanted to go through a few things that help me sort of like lessen my anxiety and just kind of bring things down to like a ground level. And I know that there are many things in life that can help to lessen anxiety. So I'm not saying that diet is the only way or like moving your body is the only way or meditation is the only way. Yeah, I just want to go through some things that I do personally that really helps me to like not let my anxiety go out of control. Um, because as a very sensitive person, I sometimes feel like I'm like at the mercy of like my environment and like the things I eat. Um, all of those things can make my anxiety just get worse than it should be, basically. So doing these things kind of helps me bring it to this like this more grounded place. Like my whole nervous system just comes to this more grounded place, and I can um, go through my life and through the world without like feeling like anxiety is totally gonna throw me off and totally like you know take over. Also, I'm using Zoom just to see if the sound quality is better. I noticed that there's like a filter, like an automatic filter on me, and I don't know how to turn that off, but I don't like filters. So if I do another one of these, I'm going to try to turn that off because it's just not real. Okay, so I'm going to just go through a few cases in my life where I've had like pretty bad anxiety. And if you don't want to listen to this or you get triggered by this kind of thing, or you've gone through it in the past and you don't want to like relive it, that's fine. Just skip to the next section. But I just wanted to give some examples of what I've been through and how that kind of relates to what I was doing at the time, my diet, my habits, things like that. So, so the first time that I can remember having like really intense anxiety was when I was 15. So this was my second year of high school, and I really, I just was not okay. I remember feeling super sensitive to like what everyone would say. So, for example, this is just one example, but I remember being in a class. This was like my, I think, French class or something like that. And my phone accidentally went off. And this was when like not everyone had a phone. So we had like our flip phones. Like I remember I had like this Motorola Razor. That phone like lasted forever. But so I remember my phone went off and no one said anything, but this was during like a test. And I already would get like anxious in those type of circumstances where like all the attention is put on me. Um, but in this case, because I feel like hormones were like surging through my body, like stuff was happening at that time. Like when you're a teenager, your body's changing. So when that happened and I felt like all of the attention was on me, like I felt like my heart was like beating out of my chest. I felt like I turned red, like my face turned like super red. Um and yeah, I was like shallow breathing. Normally that kind of thing would just make me get a little bit of a ping. Like I'd just be like, oof, like I would maybe just get like a flutter sort of in my stomach when I was like younger. I don't care about that kind of thing now. But yeah, so I really felt like the anxiety really overtook my whole body. And for that entire year, yeah, I just wasn't okay. Like I felt like I was so reactive to things. Um, that was also around 2 years after my parents separated. So it's usually after I go through, after like I lose people I love, um, maybe like a year later, I'll have just this kind of generalized anxiety. Doesn't happen anymore. But back then, it's like it really, really affected me. Okay, so then the second time I had like this very strong bout of kind of generalized anxiety was when I was my first year of university. So I was like around 20. And again, this is me kind of being separated from like my sisters, my parents, like, it's like whenever that kind of separation happens, I, that's when like I just get this generalized anxiety, or I used to. So I remember at that time, I would be kind of like, I don't know, in like the common room in our like residence, the university residence. And if anyone were to kind of put all the attention on me and like everyone would be looking at me, that's like when it would be the same thing. Like I would turn totally red, like my heart would start pounding. I would like feel like have like the shallow breathing and stuff, like sweating, like all of that stuff. Um, and at that time, I remember I was eating, like I was drinking alcohol because that's what everyone did. And then I just kind of did what everyone else did. So I was drinking, yeah, I was drinking alcohol like kind of a few times a week because that is what you do in university, I guess. Um, Also eating a lot of white bread. Like I remember taking, like I would always take like these because we had like unlimited like a food allowance at like certain cafeterias. So I would just take bread and have that as like my breakfast like the next day. And I would like put like peanut butter or something on it. So that was like the centerpiece of my diet. I was eating a lot of carbs, a lot of alcohol. Um, and I feel like that made me more sensitive to the anxiety than I probably normally would have been. So my body wasn't really able to process it or handle it. Okay, and then the final time I'm going to talk about is when I was 26. This was also after like a breakup. Um, yeah, it was actually insane because at that time I was eating vegan and not eating a lot. So it was honestly like more on the side of raw vegan. And you know how that is. Like you're not eating very much. Like you can't unless you're eating all day. So I would have like some fruit for breakfast. I would have like a salad for lunch and then maybe like a soup or a salad for dinner. So and it was all like vegetables and fruit. So I wasn't, I wasn't eating very much. And also going through this stressful time and then also having that generalized anxiety from the separation. So this is actually the most extreme case of anxiety I've ever had where I actually felt like I was like leaving my body. I remember I was at work and I worked at this kind of like cafe restaurant and I was a waitress there and I was taking someone's order and I asked them like, "Oh, what would you like?" And then they sent their order back to me, but it registered as like gibberish. So it's like my mind couldn't even retain it. Um, it's almost like it got translated into my brain as nonsense words, and that really freaked me out. So like I just remember like running to the basement and crying and being like really, really kind of scared. Um, and then from that point, probably until I was 28, I had like a lot of issues. Like um I experienced like depersonalization, which is just this feeling of the outside world like not being real. So the outside world kind of felt like a flat world, like it felt like a TV screen kind of. And people would be talking to me, but again, like what I said about that gibberish, it's like they would say something, but it would just kind of feel like blah 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 kind of to me. So that was super scary. It wasn't for like the full 2 years, but I'm just saying that maybe for like a couple months. And then following that was just like PTSD, basically trying to like um, get through that and make sense of it. And I like lost a lot in that time. Like I had to quit my job. I like lost touch with a lot of friends because I actually felt like I was going crazy, basically. And I do attribute it to that combination of being separated from someone and not like eating well. Like, same with when I was in university, like my body, I wasn't giving my body what it needed to like process the the trauma. Um, so yeah, I may do like another whole video on the depersonalization thing just because it's something that isn't um, really talked about a lot, but people occasionally go through it, and it's usually just a sign of extreme stress. Yeah, it almost felt like I was like I could have died pretty much. So yeah, and of course some weird spiritual stuff happened during that time, so I may talk about that. Okay, so now I'm going to go through some things that I have learned to help kind of like support my nervous system. And this is all going to be diet related. I understand that there are other aspects to kind of healing anxiety. So mental, lifestyle, social, like physical. But this is going to be specifically about food because we all love food. Yeah. Okay. So, one thing that has really helped me in kind of regulating my anxiety levels, even talking about anxiety, I'm like, oh my God, I'm anxious, but I'm not. It's like a lot of like memories on that whole thing. But yeah. Um, so yeah, one important thing that I've done is to focus on nutrient dense foods. It's actually very clever that the government has kind of been pushing this like grain based food pyramid. And they're always kind of saying, get all your vegetables in, get all your fruit in, get all your, like, I think at one point it was like 10 servings of grains a day. So this is not good for overall health, I find, especially for mental health. And the food pyramid, so like this whole grain based diet, it's actually more of a way for the government to kind of give people options. So when there's like a war or if there's like a big disaster, people aren't going to freak out and like do a huge revolt if like meat is too expensive or there is no meat or there are no eggs or like milk is too expensive. So if people have these options, they're going to say, "Oh, dang, like they don't have any eggs for my breakfast, but they have oats and I've heard oats are good for you." They said that in the food pyramid. So it's just kind of this way for people to just to kind of it's just this way for the government to keep people like in like a like good worker bees kind of state and just kind of like keep buying the food, keep buying our food kind of thing. So it's not, I don't see it as being based on like it's not for our health. It's more of like an economics thing. Also, one orange, I believe, in the past is the equivalent to 20 oranges today, or maybe it's 19 oranges. Okay, it's 21 oranges. So our soil has been like very depleted just because of the commercial farming. So farmers are like reusing the same soil over and over instead of like waiting for like the minerals to regenerate in it. So our food is just it's like void of nutrients. So this is why I think like at this time in our history, animal food is kind of like your best. It's like your best bet to like get all of the nutrients you need. But I'm sure there are other plant foods that are high in nutrients. Like I'm pretty sure like seaweed and dark green vegetables are pretty high in minerals. So just like look at the labels of what you're eating and you should be good. I also find that eating any kind of starch or carb or sugar makes me anxious. And I don't know why this is. This could be like a blood sugar thing. But I find that if I do eat something that's more carby, I will put like cheese or like some kind of fat with it or like a something to kind of like cut it so that it's I'm not just eating this super starchy and sugary thing. I don't think we're supposed to be eating as much sugar as we are like all at once. So that's also something that I find it makes me moody. It makes me like irritated if I eat too much, just like plain sugar or starch. Okay, and this is like my favorite thing, but I think everyone who is sensitive or has anxiety or is prone to anxiety should drink mineral water. It should say mineral water on the bottle. And I just find that it gives you like the minerals you need to somehow like really calm your nerves. And I don't know how it works. I will drink maybe like at least 2 cups a day of mineral water. And you'll see that each brand has like different levels of minerals. So just like try a few and like see which one you feel really good with. And that could be like, and it could be that that water is high in the minerals that you need. I don't know. It just it's just crazy. Me and my sister have been drinking more of it, and we find that our like we're just more focused and like we're just more grounded. I'm serious. So if there's actually anything that you take from this, like spend your money on high quality mineral water. Um, Also because it's usually from these protected aquifers, like it's very clean. Not all of them are clean. I actually find Pellegrino isn't super clean, but a lot of them are, yeah, very pure. They don't have like the extra added chemicals. And that also has an effect on your anxiety. Like you're not taking in all of this like tap water, this toxic tap water. So it's like to me, it's like the best thing you can spend your money on. And you'll see. Just like try it and you'll see. Okay, and then the final thing is to eat like a moderate amount of fat. So I'll specifically say animal fat, but also like coconut fat or like a plant fat could be good. I find that it's soothing for my nervous system. I feel very, very calm when I have enough of it. So this could be egg yolk, cream, um, cheese, like the more fatty meats, um, coconut, like some kind of coconut cream or coconut butter or coconut milk, um, and butter, like regular butter. So just like bring just like a little bit of that in. If you're like someone who never eats fat, just like have a bit every day, and I do find that it really helps me at least. Okay, and that's all I wanted to say about this. I I do find diet has an effect on me. So if you end up trying any of these, definitely let me know how it goes. And hopefully I talked fast enough. Um, yeah, I'm sure it was good. I a part of me likes talking slow, but I know that I can't do that. I can't do that when I'm like presenting something. So there we go. Um, yeah, okay, I will see you in the next one.